Brian Kearney is here from Rise Engineering. Rise Engineering is a lead vendor of the MassSave program. And Brian's been with Rise since about 2011 as Director of Residential Services, responsible for managing the home energy services programs for 1 to 4 unit residential buildings in Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and on behalf of the utilities and the other program sponsors of MassSave. He's a big gun here. He has 120 people reporting to him, over 90 home performance contractors and independent installation contractors. He's grown the number of home energy services programs Rise administers from 2 to 6, and more than double the number of customers served to over 28,000 households annually.
There you go.
He's worked for National Grid and Keyspan Energy. So again, another guy with the expertise and the knowledge that we all need here to move forward. So Brian, over to you.
That's great. Thank you so much, Jim. And thank you, Bob and Hilly and Helen, who I had the chance to meet earlier. Last week, we did a dry run, and something that stood out from Bob's presentation was the talks about planning ahead and getting that information. Before we even saw each other's presentations, we all kind of touched upon that need to time of replacement and thinking ahead. And I saw some of the questions that came over from the group, and it seems like folks are proactively aware of that. And just knowing what your options are and knowing what's available for MassSave, I think is hopefully keeping that education in your back pocket for when you are ready to make these changes. And fortunately, things are progressing. Massachusetts is a leader in the nation for energy efficiency. There's a lot of mature energy efficiency programs throughout the state. And we all benefit from that. We all contribute to it, of course, as part of your electric bill and your gas bill. But it also helps us sort of be a leader in the nation for this activity. And it's a great industry that I'm fortunate to be part of. And in all likelihood, maybe some folks on the participating now are somehow intrinsically involved in energy efficiency across the state. And we've all got a lot of work to do. So I will just go ahead and I'm sharing. I've devised here that's going to happen. So if folks can see my screen, it's a little bit of a different format, but I am showing a deck. It's just in a PDF. Can folks see my screen? Okay, great. So here we are, Medfield. I'm a Medfield super fan. I live down the road. You might, if you catch me in town at Nosh and Grog or somewhere, please say hello. MassSave has been evolving their energy efficiency work over plans. Every 3 years, MassSave goes into a brand new energy efficiency plan. And this is the start, 2022, of a very substantial programmatic change. If folks on the call have participated in the past or had energy audits through the program, the offers are always changing and evolving. And the mission behind energy efficiency is to help transform the market. So one of the things early on that I used to be really excited about was LED light bulbs. And in 2012, we were able to replace one incandescent light bulb with a $50 LED light bulb. And now 50 light bulbs, LEDs are pretty ubiquitous. The program is starting to move away from them, and more as the program is looking to decarbonize some of these bigger tactics that are out there surround e-pumps and electrification. And then we'll get into barrier mitigation and some other topics. So I've got a lot to cover here. I'm going to go quickly, and then hopefully we'll have a chance to open it up for some conversations after the fact. So again, MassSave is a partnership between program administrators and member utilities. The Cape Light Compact is a program administrator, but all of the utilities work together. I'm a lead vendor. I work at Rise Engineering. We've got counterparts at Abode Energy Management or Clear Result, and there are home performance contractors as well, a network of contractors that are able to perform this work. We try not to step on each other's toes. And again, there's a lot of work to be done. So that's why there's a lot of different pathways to take, fortunately, in a way that meets your needs and gets you the answers that you need. So we're going to cover mostly residential energy efficiency programs tonight. There are other activities if you own a business, or if you work in a large office and you know that it might be an energy hog. Typically, MassSave has programs for those as well. There's multifamily activity and what's referred to as income eligible, which is served through our local CAP agencies, and we can talk about that as well. So this is sort of an overarching slide of the different opportunities. Coordinated delivery, or RCD, this is the first bucket, and it is what Jim highlighted and Bob touched upon in terms of residential homes being such a high demand for our energy use. That's generally the place I play, is the coordinated delivery activity. Retail, HVAC and appliances. So some people don't recognize that if you go to a big box store and you were to purchase an LED light bulb in years past, those were bought down by MassSave, by your local utility or your program administrator. And now things like those heat pump hot water heaters are now bought down at the retail level. And it's just, it's a buy down. So those discounts are already pre-applied and covered by the manufacturer, and you're purchasing them at a lower rate. If you are in the market to pull a permit and start construction, it's a very exciting time. Please consider involving the utility and involving the MassSave program as well, in terms of what might be available in an Energy Star Homes program, which involves a person called a HERS rater, and they help you go above code, where a lot of heat pumps and potentially ground source heat pumps and other technology are probably being pitched if you're building a high performance home. There are income eligible programs, depending on where you fall out, for the number of people that live in your home and the amount of money that you make. And then there's a subset of that as well, referred to as moderate income, which is still administered by the lead vendors. But there is a income verification portion, and it does afford you a higher level of incentives based on an income verification of being 60 to 80% above the state median income. We do run a really popular financing program, a 0% financing program it was traditionally called the heat loan, but it does a whole host of other things. But we do have a really robust 0% financing program. It's up to $25,000 and 7 years at that 0%. And MassSave does a lot of education. We work with schools. We work with other program entities that do outreach and education, from bringing in new members of the green workforce out all the way down to helping school programs sell energy efficient products and help support their school. So residential coordinated delivery, why we're here tonight, the audits. As Jim and Bob indicated, with so much that's changing, so many of the incentive amounts that we'll get into, one of the first things that you can do is have a no cost, no obligation home energy assessment. We're running virtual only for a period of time during COVID. We did transition back into in person if that's preferred, and now we can do both. So we took a lot of lessons learned out of the pandemic, and we do run what we can virtually, inspections and things like that. But we also recognize that there's a lot of value and a lot of nuance in each person's home and attic and spaces, and having that personal touch is something that we still strive to do. So in the assessment, we always touch upon health and safety. Doing no harm is first and foremost. We do a combustion safety test of the heating equipment that's there. We identify areas where we might be able to provide an air sealing and insulation recommendation. So we're going to stick our head up in the attic. We're going to want to go poke in crawl spaces and attics, knee walls, and other areas like that, and see what the current levels of insulation are and what we might be able to propose through the program. We also do what's referred to as instant savings measures. So we'll provide low flow shower heads. We'll provide a faucet aerator. We'll even do programmable thermostats, and for a small customer contribution, install a Wi-Fi thermostat as part of the assessment. So at the end of the assessment, once the auditor has completed their task, For the most part, unless you're in a high performance home or you're in a relatively newer construction home, we're likely going to find hopefully something that we can do or that you're in need of. Why did you call us there? You've got a comfort concern. You've got a high bill concern. Something brought us together, and the auditor is going to focus on that. So they will likely give recommendations for how to run insulation and air sealing opportunities. They'll create a proposal and provide that to you. They'll give you some sort of loose guidance on what you have for your existing equipment and what types of equipment you could consider based on your existing infrastructure. But as Bob kind of mentioned, heat pumps open up a whole new world of opportunity to provide secondary systems and combinations of traditional distribution that you wouldn't once sort of combine. We have the opportunity to do that now with new technology. We will look at sort of appliance upgrades and make recommendations or describe what rebates are available. MassSave does have a refrigerator recycling program. If you have a secondary refrigerator in your basement that's hardly used, considering unplugging that and responsibly recycling it, could save you, up to $150 a year just by taking out that fridge. Window screening. So for a number of years, you could finance a replacement of a single pane window to a double pane, and there was not a rebate available. Now going forward in 2022, rebates are back for windows. It's a $75 rebate. You're able to finance that as well, but it must be triple pane. So you can go from single to triple pane, and those are really nice windows. But again, the savings value is there to allow the program to provide you with that rebate, which was a great change for 2022. So current incentives for weatherization. So you can get 100% off of insulation. We were running a program for a period of time during COVID, right at the beginning there. And we've moved that back over to our 75% offer, which is still pretty fantastic. But it's not commonly known that we do have 100% offer if you live in a rental unit. If you pay your utilities and you have a lease, you are eligible to receive the insulation. You and your landlord can make that decision and get your insulation at your property done for 100%. The other thing that we mentioned at the top of the deck was the moderate income. It's a pre-screening process that does look at your income. And if you are deemed moderate income, we will then go ahead and offer you the weatherization work at 100%. We're going to propose it to you both ways. And as you go through the process, if you do recognize that you qualify for that, it just opens you up to a higher tier of incentives. The majority of folks are participating in that 75% off window. And it says 81% or more of state median income. So yes, a good portion of the customers that we serve fall into this. And it is mostly owner occupied and single family buildings. And it's just 75% off. For a number of years, it was 75% off up to $2,000 or 75% off up to $4,000. And we've eliminated the cap. And air sealing is also done at no cost. Bob, you have a question? Or is that a different Bob? This other Bob. Bob, if you just give me a few minutes, we'll get some questions going. Or if it's quick and someone can take you off mute, I'm not prepared to do that as I'm not presenting. But thank you. And then the $500 bonus for weatherization and heat pumps. This is something that is very, very new. It is to the point where we, as the lead vendors and the program administrators, are still working on the mechanics of how we're going to be passing this data. But the intent of the offer is for a partial heat pump, partial rebate, which is if you're not doing a whole home rebate, there is going to be a kicker if you move forward with weatherization and you put in the heat pumps that qualify for those partial rebates. The program is going to pay out a $500 bonus. And then the comment around set weatherization pricing. So we work with a network of around 100 contractors. And regardless of who is going out to your home, the list of measures and the list of offers are all standardized. and the price associated with them are also set. So the offer is pretty incredible. It's 75% off. So you can imagine getting $10,000 worth of work done for $2,500. The pricing can vary on certain materials and practices, but for all intents and purposes, we don't need to shop around to participate in MassSave because the offers and the materials and pricing are all still the same. One other thing that I think is pretty prevalent in our community, in New England in particular, and where we have a lot of older housing stock, are what are referred to as pre-weatherization barriers. I'm trying to come up with a better word for barrier because I know a barrier is a physical block that you're supposed to climb over, and these are things that are preventing you from moving forward with weatherization. It's not a danger in your home. There aren't any risks associated with it as they sit. But as you're making improvements to your home and you're making changes to your electrical panel and your electrical upgrades, if oftentimes if you're adding heat pumps, it requires a higher amperage of electricity, and you may come across some of these things that you have to make improvements on before you can move forward. So things like knob and tube wiring, often present in homes built before 1940, say. Asbestos, which can be found in what's referred to as vermiculite, which is a rock. It was a ground up rock that had traces of asbestos in it, and it was used as an insulating material. That's something that we look for at the time of the assessment, and we would encourage you and provide you with pathways to get that mitigated. Improperly vented heating equipment, again, from doing the health and safety check, you might have to adjust the pitch of your flue or get a clean and tune or something like that to make sure that if we're going to tighten the home and make adjustments to it, everything is working optimally. So that barrier, moderate income protocols that we talked about, the moderate income incentives will be evolving to provide a incentive of up to $7,000 to help you overcome those barriers. And those payments are going to be made in conjunction with doing the work up front. The previous iteration of the plan had us providing those dollars after the fact. And you can imagine the challenge of providing that money up front, only to wait a number of weeks or months to get paid back. Everyone in the program has access to a $250 barrier mitigation, pre-weatherization barrier sort of form. So if you need a clean and tune, if you need your flue repitched, if you need a knob and tube inspection, all of these are reimbursed by the program, whether you move forward with the work or not, for up to $250. So moderate income incentives, again, this is a brand new process. We've had a moderate income program for a number of years, but the method to engage in the program and apply is changing. And then the offers themselves are expanding to include a lot of access to barrier mitigation dollars, and then as well enhanced incentives for heat pumps. So the income verification will be done at no cost. You do have access to that barrier mitigation dollars. And then these will be available in May. This slide deck is so fresh that some of these things are future state. So we appreciate, I think MassSave appreciates the patience. We understand a lot of enthusiasm and excitement around getting a lot of these going. And we're working to make sure everything is happening as smoothly as possible as all these really big dramatic changes roll out. So the income qualifications, I thought this was an important slide just to put up for visualization. It has the number of people in your household, and then the less than symbol for income eligible. And then if it moves above that amount between those two ranges, that's where you would fall out and apply for moderate income. And again, it opens you up to a lot of the same benefits that are provided through income eligible, and a lot of the benefits through the market rate program. It's sort of a great bridge to blend all of the program offerings and make sure that there's something for everyone. So income eligible incentives, typically you are going to know if you're on a discounted rate code, but if you don't, you can call your program administrator, you can call Eversource, and ask them what rate you're on, and they might ask a few qualifying questions. If you think you want to get on a discount rate and you qualify, it does provide you with a significant discount in the cost of the delivery of your fuel. So it's something that you should consider looking into. If you are on that discount rate and you want to participate and get an energy audit, those are done through our local CAP agency, your Community Action Program, and they blend a lot of funding. The WAP dollars, Weatherization Assistance Program dollars, Department of Energy dollars, are all kind of run through the CAP agencies, and that's where they would provide all of these opportunities. With your heating equipment as well, if that's aging or failing, they would even replace that at no cost at all. So let's get into some of the exciting things, right? What people have, if you're on the MassSave website and you're familiar with navigating that, there have been some recent additions. These rebate forms are on the MassSave website. So it's a great place to sort of be checking for as things change. But these are some of the greatest incentives I've ever seen for heat pumps, and it's something that people are very excited about. The key here to consider is, as Bob mentioned, there's an offer for a ground source heat pump, so something to consider, and to be very cognizant of what federal tax credits and also state tax credits you can combine with this incentive when you are looking for different heating opportunities. There is natural gas is on the list. That was up in the air for a little bit. It's in for the $10,000. It's in for the $1,250 per ton. A partial home rebate is when you're only going to add a heat pump to a part of your home, or you're not going to fully replace your traditional fossil or electric resistance heating to be part of that whole home $10,000 incentive. And if you aren't able to fully weatherize your home, you might end up defaulting to that $1,250 per ton, which is still a pretty significant incentive, depending on the size of the equipment that you're doing. A single head is typically right around 3 tons. So you can think about if you're getting quotes and you need multiple heads, how many tons that is, and you can do the math on where that lands. It's the max of $10,000 per home, though, just to be clear there. So whole home heat pump rebates. To qualify for whole home, you have to have an energy assessment. And the reason why we're doing it like this is because it does not make the most sense to put in a super efficient heat pump when your home is not fully weatherized and it's not working optimally. It's really the most beneficial thing that you can do is to sort of cross weatherization off of your list. And Bob made a great point about doing everything within reason. I know that there's a lot of challenges around certain people's housing stock, construction style, existing conditions, and getting the energy assessment and sort of getting a baseline for what can and can't be insulated is one of those crucial steps. So again, you get the audit, we weatherize your home, or we deem it fully weatherized, and then you'll move forward with your whole home heat pump installation. For the partial heat pump rebates, one of the things that they talk about requiring to take advantage of that $1,250 is to use what are referred to as integrated controls. And what that basically means is your system, your heat pumps should be used as in the shoulder seasons. They should be used when you would traditionally be switching over to your fossil fuel system. Your heat pump can actually run very efficiently for a significant period of time. And the cost slides that Bob was highlighting, where if it didn't get so cold, Bob's slides would look even better. Heat pumps would look even better. But when it drops down beyond certain temperatures, the cost effectiveness of running your natural gas system may be better. And that is where you would want to look into talking to your installer about use of integrated controls. It is what affords you the opportunity for that higher incentive. So again, they were kind enough to do a big coming soon here. We know this is going to have a lot of interest. And it's really for going forward. If you're considering insulating your home and you're interested in heat pumps, we want you to do these things in conjunction with each other. And that's where the bonus comes in. You're going to be incurring a lot of costs, making these changes. It's not, even with all of these incentives, there still is a layout from you, the homeowner. And this is designed to help you make those choices happen at the same time. Again, more with the rebates. So much has changed. The enhanced rebates amounts are new for this year, and they involve making sure that the home is fully weatherized, or that you're falling into those moderate income incentives. Not participating, not making sure that your home is fully weatherized. There are still standard rebates where you wouldn't need to have an energy assessment. But again, to get the higher incentives, getting that energy audit is something that you need to do. So for water heater, again, there's additional incentives for just doing water heaters, and we're pushing the days of doing a standalone sort of tanked water heater are waning, and we're pushing you to be doing things like heat pump water heaters, things like condensing water heaters and tankless water heaters, all still great technology above a standard electric backed water heater or the like. So those are the rebates for that. We have product rebates. So we have the $100 rebate for smart thermostats. Whether the program installs one or not, you are able to purchase one out in the open market and apply for a rebate after the fact, or you can purchase one through the program administrator's online store, which you can get through MassSave as well. We do have the refrigerator recycling and the dehumidifier turn-in events that occur. There's offers for window rebates and dehumidifiers as well, all accessible rebates that you can find on MassSave.com. And a really exciting thing is the batteries. Battery powered lawn equipment continues to come along. It's getting closer and closer. I know somebody who bought an electric snowblower this winter, and it's bigger than my gas snowblower. And it was one of the first things I wanted to know about was how it did on some of those deeper days. But there are rebates available now for things like a lawnmower of up to $75, and at a $400 or $500 for a rebate for a lawnmower, $75 off is pretty decent. So that's a new offer for 2022. I mentioned the heat loan at the top. We're doing okay. How am I doing on time? Should I speed it up here? Or
yeah, because I'd love to. We got a bunch of questions starting to pile up. So
yep. Okay.
The heat loan's important.
So we've got the heat loan. Again, it's 0% up to 7 years, and there's a whole host of things that you're eligible for to take advantage of with the heat loan that I mentioned. And there we go. I was getting a little nervous here about running out of time.